We are joined by the monochromatic wonder himself, RazorFist.
Beta!
Razor!
Why does everybody hate you?
Oh, just sipping on spur.
I don't even know if that's PG!
Everybody hates you.
It's fine.
Emotional damage!
I don't know why so many people are so passionate about defending sexy ladies when the only freaking venereal disease they've ever contracted is carpal tunnel.
But hey,
We'll go on.
Get off the stage, you drunk bastard!
Stace came in and says, for Goonergate topic, part one, the whole thing seems very Puritan and censorious. And how is this different from the woke pushing their ideology on people who want to play what they want to play?
Blow it out your ass.
Oh, he's getting mad.
Stace came back, says, part two, instead of Yahtzee, sexist, or bigot, it's Gooner, center, loser. And like it or not, there is a market for such games and actual corn games. So much, even Valve started allowing them.
All this was kicked off by a game that's basically dead, First Descendant.
Yeah.
They were putting that kind of stuff in the game basically to try and inject life into it, and it worked for a minute. They sold some DLCs. It was DLC or something, right?
Isn't it your job to know?
He says, I don't care for the drama, but calling gamers who like stuff you don't like losers isn't the best way to cultivate discussion and get your point across. Just in case, insert dev or journalist here.
Yeah, there's way more creative names to call them.
Emotional damage!
And Vagabundo, my man, Devon, came in and says, why does Stellar Blade get a pass and not First Descendant is the main criticism. Any other take is deflection to the main hypocrisy. No one thinks Razor trying to ban anything and saying such is deflection.
I don't like either of them, so it's irrelevant to me.
What are you, gay?
Ulysses says, it's not the Christian we hate the hypocrisy by Melanie Mack, and she spurged. Nothing more, nothing less. Never go full simping, Razor.
Sure. Go with simping, you clown.
Talk about Mario Kart music without bringing up Rainbow Road.
There's good and there's not good. This is not good.
Nethel King says, hard to disagree on Razor.
Leave me alone!
We take issue with Melanie's conduct and hypocrisy. Characterizing it as filling diapers and smearing seems dishonest to me.
Are there any that don't come from e-drama dog merchants? Any?
Yeah. Well, let's see if we can find some of those blabs. Just actual
Yeah.
It's only...
A disagreement.
Why you have to be mad?
Several days later.
And JJ says, will RazorFist still be featured on SideScrollers? Well, so Razor's going to step away from the show. It's a decision that he made. And he says he's ramping up stuff to work on Volume 2 of Ghost of the Badlands and Volume 3 of his book series, of his comic and everything, and Volume 3 of his book series. So he's going to step away. And he's been meaning to step away from shows like this, like us. And I guess he's going to step away from F&T and things like that as well. So to focus on his own personal stuff. So Razor made that decision, and we're going to honor it. So, like I said.
Oh, I forgot. You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
So I decided to start this new trend as of last week. I guess we can name the series Grifting Too Close to the Sun. Last week, we debuted the first episode with RazorFist and Melanie Mack. And surprisingly, even though Melanie Mack is the one that started the whole thing with an awful take that exposed a good chunk of the anti-woke community, it's actually RazorFist who people are still talking about. And now, SideScrollers have come out with this official statement.
And JJ says, will RazorFist still be featured on SideScrollers? Well, so Razor's going to step away from the show. It's a decision that he made. And he says he's ramping up stuff to work on Volume 2 of Ghost of the Badlands and Volume 3 of his book series, of his comic and everything, and Volume 3 of his book series. So he's going to step away. And he's been meaning to step away from shows like this, like us. And I guess he's going to step.
Oh, would you look at that? It would seem RazorFist has grifted too close to the sun. His wax and feathers just didn't hold up once he started to cap for the dumb slut who pretends to be Christian. I knew this was going to happen. Now, I don't like side-scrollers. Blab's voice is almost more annoying than Melanie Max. Craig has an annoying face that irritates me, and he's very uncharismatic, unfunny, and untalented. But in all fairness to the both of them, I believe Craig when he says RazorFist decided to step down. Because last week, the man faced an onslaught of criticism he probably never once did in his entire existence on YouTube. For years, this guy was adored by the same crowd he tries to grift for. So when he sees them referring to him as a simp in the chat, when they see him criticizing what he defended, he couldn't take it. He packed his bags and left before it got worse, because believe me, it's going to get much worse. All it took was for SideScrollers' audience to wake up, and RazorFist said, I'ma head out. Because the man is realizing that the very same audience he took over a decade to build up is turning on him much faster. So throughout the remainder of his time in his final appearance on SideScrollers, he spends it getting triggered, upset, and defensive towards the super chatters who were rightfully putting him on the spot and also asking him very reasonable questions. And the discomfort you could see on Blab's face, RazorFist's face, and Craig's stuttering ass is amazing. It makes you wonder if the reactions they're getting now is gonna make them reconsider bringing Melanie Mac on. But seeing as how they continue to advocate for someone like Grums, I highly doubt it. They don't care at SideScrollers. They're paying attention to their numbers.
Well, the chart says.
So that's why I'm here to ruin their fun. But also because we finally get to see just how poor RazorFist is at defending himself and anything he believes in or stands up for when actually put on the spot. He is a massive pussy, a mega pushover, and more beta than the people he criticizes.
Great. SideScrollers says, for Goonergate topic, part 1, the whole thing seems very Puritan and censorious, and how is this different from the woke pushing their ideology on people who want to play what they want to play?
Yeah. I mean, pretty simply, I never called for censorship. In 5 days of an absolute typhoon of tism, nobody has yet produced a screenshot where I called for censorship. Blow it out your ass.
My God, RazorFist has the IQ and sex appeal of a goddamn banana peel. How stupid is this man? Let's start off with what you were defending, and that was Melanie Mac's take, which was a direct contradiction towards everything she said previously. You probably don't know that because you decided to go in there and make it your business and simp for her without even doing a little bit of research. So what you were actually defending was indeed somebody advocating for censorship of adult media. Never mind the fact that what Melanie was complaining about wasn't even close to being pornography, but that didn't stop you. You still went in there and agreed with everything she said. You don't even know what you defended. That's the best part. You just saw, oh, right-winger needs my help. Let me come to her defense. Maybe she'll send me a pic of her fucking crusty toenails. I don't know. What's even more idiotic is that, you know, Melanie could have had a good point if she was talking about, I don't know, what, say like a game like Doom. Why would Doom need sexy cladded armor females? I wouldn't want that in Doom. That would be a fair point. But she was talking about The First Ascendant, a game that was meant to appeal to the male gaze. Meant to have sexy female characters, meant to goon over, as they would say. Something that she considered art for Stellar Blade, but for some reason for Last Descendant is degeneracy. All of that context is completely missing for RazorFist, but it didn't stop him, which goes to show you it's all a grift. He doesn't care how much info he has on the subject, he's there to grift. Because if a little hard work actually paid the bills, RazorFist would have gone out of his way to do such research like he does on every other Wokey, but instead, he gives Melanie the free pass, and we know why.
Cease came back, says part 2, instead of Yahtzee, sexist, or bigot, it's Gooner, Sinner, Loser, and like it or not, there is a market for such games and actual corn games, so much even Valve started allowing them.
When your criticism is too big to fit in one super chat. I love it. I love it. And that super chatter is right. Gooner is the language of the wokies. So why are these anti-wokers now adopting said language and using it against their own viewers?
I've always said the market will always decide.
Exactly.
You know?
And all this was kicked off by a game that's basically dead, First Descendant.
What? Since when is averaging 10,000 players a day dead? Is that because we are comparing it to other multiplayer games that get way more than that? I would say for a non-AAA title, that is excellent. That is not dead. Dead would be Suicide Squad. Dead would be Concord. Dead would be Redfall. The First Descendant has a player count 99% of game developers wish they had. Even if it were dead, that still wouldn't prove anyone's point.
Which is They were putting that kind of stuff in the game basically to try and inject life into it, and it worked for a minute. They sold some DLCs, I guess. It was DLC or something, right? And then the game promptly died again.
You are such a goddamn disingenuous grifter. Listen to that bullshit. That stuff was in the game since the beginning. They didn't suddenly introduce it to try and save the game. Like, the narrative he's trying to create here is false. And I love it too because the chat was calling him out on it, reminding him, no, sexy, skimpy outfits have been there since the beginning. But that won't stop RazorFist from talking out of his ass, because that's the only thing he knows how to do. And quite possibly the only spot he knows how to pleasure himself.
My original tweet was just, you don't have to make a choice between commies and coomers. Like, you can, if there's choices for everyone, then the free market will ultimately decide. You know, that's right. That's all I said, period. And all I've said repeatedly.
Just listen to that nonsense. The only choice is coomers and commies, or my side, which is obviously the correct one. F off. Everyone who doesn't agree with me is either a commie or a coomer. When you have to use derogatory remarks to describe people who don't align with you, it's probably because you live in a glass house that at any point is ready to shatter in. You know, the way you just up and left side-scrollers after this is proof of that. And you did a lot more than just that. You then went on to make these ridiculous claims that the Christian right-wing moral panic was never a thing and was a giant psyop. Like, do you not see why people think you're an idiot?
It's just, I don't know what steams their soy cakes about people having other morals than they do. I'm not imposing them on you. I'm not telling the government to censor anything.
You didn't, but the person you were defending, they are, and they believe it should be changed in accordance to the scripture from a book that was written long before common sense was a thing.
I felt like they kind of ran that, and I'm looking at your take right now, the headline for this, and I feel like it's a pretty vanilla take. Like,
yeah, it wasn't that wild.
We can, in fact, insist on good games and then I think you can fill that in with whatever you want, right?
Right.
You said
you literally could.
Right. That are not spiritually caustic or degenerate.
God, I can't stand Craig. At this point, I think a slug has more of a spine than he does. My favorite part is how they're in complete disbelief, as if finally having an article written on one of their own instead of it being the usual suspects like Alyssa Mercante or Sweet Baby Inc. It's one of them. And Craig can believe it's a mild take all he wants. He's never going to see that, RazorFist following it up with trying to convince everyone that, the Christian moral panic of the 90s was not a thing. Because I'm pretty sure even you would disagree with such stupidity, Craig. But you know what really grosses me out is how respect for RazorFist's take like that is afforded to him. But, if somebody of the complete opposite side of the political spectrum says the same thing, Craig will put them on blast.
I don't really care. I got friends on both sides of this thing.
Nor do I. There are no sides. Let's just establish that. There's no sides. There's two people who express an opinion, and then there's a circular firing squad that assembled after that. There's one side. There's the dog pile, and then there's two people who said something they're cranky about, and it was an excuse for them to fill their diaper and smear the walls of their crib with feces. Like, that's essentially what happened there. So, yeah.
What a trash-ass defense. You guys are pathetic. Oh, yes, though, me, RazorFist, who's never once been responsible for dogpiling with my f***ing retarded autistic audience. I'm the victim. I'm being dogpiled. This is unacceptable. I would never do the same to anyone. No. How dare people do it to me? My hands are clean of this exact same behavior. There are no sides. I just picked one. Jesus Christ. The hypocrisy is unbelievable here. No one is a victim until RazorFist is a victim.
He says, I don't care for the drama, but calling gamers who like stuff you don't like losers isn't the best way to cultivate discussion and get your point across. Just in case, insert dev or journalist here.
Yeah, there's way more creative names to call them.
Nate says,
That comment, God, is so good. Oh, it's so true. When the game journalists insult people and talk down to them, these three are there to defend gamers. When RazorFist does it, it's deserved, and he has the freedom to do so. It is so true. Melanie Mac and RazorFist are talking down to their own followers in a manner that the game journalist would do.
and Vagabundo, my man Devon came in and says, why does Stellar Blade get a pass and not First Descendant is the main criticism. Any other take is deflection to the main hypocrisy. No one thinks Razor trying to ban anything and saying such is deflection.
Yeah, no one. Just my mentions full of people claiming otherwise.
Ah, excellent. Nice to see RazorFist completely dodge the question.
Yeah. But do you have any thoughts on the other side of that? The idea of like why the first defendant is different than first descendant is different. Than
I don't like either of them, so it's irrelevant to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me, we know you don't care, RazorFist. That's why you didn't even research. You didn't look into what Melanie was saying or why she was saying it. You had no idea what you were defending. You don't care about both games, and yet you want to give your own opinion? Sounds to me like you don't have a relevant opinion on any of this. You were just there to Bible thump people who didn't agree with you. Let's face it, you use this as an opportunity to exploit Christianity. Let's call it out for what it is. Let's keep it real.
Ulysses says, it's not the Christian we hate the hypocrisy by Melanie Mac and she spurged. Nothing more, nothing less. Never go full simping, Razor.
Sure. Yeah, I expressed the same opinion months before she did, but so we'll go with simping, you clown.
Oh, the visible rage, the salt, what I would give to see what his eyes were doing under those cringe-ass shades, because he knows very well what he did. He went out of his way to defend someone that didn't need to be defended. And you know what's crazy is I didn't show them, but there were a few super chats in support of what RazorFist was saying, but I guess anything less than total agreement isn't good enough for him. If half the people there don't agree with him, it's enough to cause him to get salty and quit the show, which is so goddamn childish. Personally, I would have just told the chat at this point, I'm sorry I didn't look more into why Melanie Mac was saying what she was saying, and now I can see the hypocrisy. I'm sorry. But instead, he just shits on everyone that disagrees with him, leading to more hostility from the audience. And then he sits there all puzzled, wondering why is everybody hating on me? And you can visibly see him get more flustered as they continue to read more super chats criticizing him.
It's negative 20 shysters. Nethel King says, hard to disagree on Razor. We take issue with Melanie's conduct and hypocrisy, characterizing it as filling diapers and smearing seems dishonest to me.
Are there any that don't come from e-drama dogshit merchants? Any?
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's see if we can find some of those live. Just actual,
Yeah.
So TikTok.
He's so salty. Oh my god, this chat trolled the ever-living shit out of him. His ego is so easily bruised. It's pathetic. He is getting tilted. It's like he's never been so pressed on a question before. Does anybody that hosts him as a guest ever bother to challenge him? Clearly not, because the side-scrollers don't do it. So his reaction is that of someone who expects you to constantly be huffing up all their farts and loving it. He believes the criticism is coming from e-drama merchants. I'm guessing he's referring to channels like mine. When all we're doing is holding him to the same standard he expects out of everyone else. And it's honestly very mild. And yet for some reason he let it get so out of hand. He cannot defend his position without coming off as aggressive, treating anyone who approaches him with a disagreement over it so hostile. You can tell the way he reacted to that was a signal to Craig and Blabs to start filtering out the comments because he couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to be reminded of his simp behavior. It gets to him. It hurts his feelings. But hey, this is supposed to be a quote-unquote internet tough guy.
Talk about Mario Kart music without bringing up Rainbow Road.
We have emotions. Beep, 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 boop, boop. Look at how quirky and human we are. Beep, 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 boop. RazorFist is not fake smiling. Beep, 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 boop. Anyways, after a painful 2 hours of very, very mild milquetoast, anti-woke subjects and anti-woke takes, RazorFist couldn't handle the mediocrity and the criticism from the super chats coming his way, so he up and dipped, leaving stuttering Craig having to run some terrible defense for his boy.
So anyways, thanks for having me on, and Godspeed!
Thank you. Go check out his video. So, and I get it's easy to dogpile on people on the internet, but like, really, that's your hill, So, everybody has I'm a hypocrite, Blab's a hypocrite, you're a hypocrite, Joe Biden's a hypocrite, Donald Trump's a hypocrite, Razor's a hypocrite, Mel's a hypocrite. Go down the list, pick anybody you want. They're all hypocrites.
I just think you did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. There's bigger issues in the gaming industry than
for sure.
Goonergate, and if that's all you're focusing on, then maybe you don't know shit.
I listen. I agree. There are much bigger fish to fry. I think that it was a slow news week. That's what I think.
Yep.
Motherfuckers, your entire podcast is built on a slow news day. More than half the crap you cover is not worth anyone's time. I'm calling everybody a hypocrite. What does that achieve? We're all hypocrites, therefore no one is really a hypocrite. Ooh, wow. When they say there's bigger fish to fry, they mean don't focus on us, because we're harboring one of the worst people out there, Grums, who is clearly one of the biggest fish to fry, and we're refusing to do it. You guys got two of our biggest guests, Melanie Mac and RazorFist, exposed. Oh crap, they're gonna get Grums next. There goes three of our biggest draws. Now look at them, the entire show was a mess. And now Craig has to wash his hands clean of them. And that's an awkward situation that's no fun for anyone. Part of me wants to feel bad for them, but the fact that they even brought on Melanie, Grums, and RazorFist as frequent guests just shows me they were terrible judges of character and rightfully deserve to have their credibility questioned. Not because they were guests on your show, but because they were never pressed by you. You never asked them hard-hitting questions. You didn't grill them out. You didn't criticize them. You didn't debate them. You were more friends with them. And believe me, I think it's pretty fair to criticize your choice of friends there. They represent a lot wrong right now with gaming culture. Two of them specifically related to culture, but one of them being everything wrong with the gaming industry itself. These aren't people you want to call friends. These are people you want to challenge. I'm not saying you have to completely shit all over them, but you can obviously do a better job of putting their beliefs and their ideologies to the test. But at this point, I'm not sure if Craig lacks the spine or the brain to do it. But, seeing how easily RazorFist departed from your show when facing criticism from the chat, now I know why. Melanie, Razor, Grums, if you dare challenge them, they probably will never show up again, will they? The best I can wish for SideScrollers is this makes them better hosts. They're bad enough at their job as it is, seeing as how they touted their real Game Awards show that's supposed to be better than Jeff Keighley's, and yet when it comes to their winners, they can't even get the date of release correct. Because for best FPS, they brought in Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, RoboCop, and Stalker 2. But do you know the problem with that list? RoboCop came out in 2023, not 2024, you dumb f***s. How on God's green earth did you raise all of that money? And you promised people you would do better, and you nominated a game from 2023 for a 2024 show. You don't even know what you're talking about. And this is proof. Bit by bit, this entire grift is falling apart. I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, don't you? These people are all so obviously acting in bad faith, so obviously circle jerking each other, because any disagreement will lead to a falling out because they're pussies. But nonetheless, that doesn't stop people from ensuring they build their careers up, all while being obvious frauds. God damn, we gotta do better. What, are you gonna let the wokies do this? Criticize anti-wokers? No, it's gotta be people who agree with them being their harshest critics. They're never gonna learn if all you constantly do is shower them with money and tell them how correct they are and fondle them. You have to be laser precise with your criticism, otherwise it's gonna go over most people's heads. Likely like this one will, even though I think I did a pretty decent job. And if you think so, well then help me get to 100,000 subscribers. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you so choose to. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one.
Free Congo sucks ass.